Most people that struggle to activate their glutes don't understand this one key point, and that is getting a nice stretch and length through the glute in an exercise like a single leg deadlift is absolutely key for getting the muscle to contract properly in the first place. I can almost fully guarantee you that if you struggle with glute activation and you try this exercise I'm about to show you, you will feel them more than you have in most things in your life. But we have to understand the key and what we're going for here. You see, the glutes attach on the backside of the pelvis and they create a closing off of the backside of the pelvis as we move into a position of hip extension and as we stand up. As we descend into hip bend and hip flexion, that's what gets us a nice stretch and length through the glutes on the backside of the pelvis. The action of stretching out the glutes as we descend into hip flexion is called hip internal rotation. This is absolutely key. This is why exercises that push our hips back in space, like a bilateral deadlift or a single leg deadlift, are so good to recruit the glutes, is because they get a nice stretch and move us into a lot of internal rotation of the hips. So here's my all-time favorite glute activation exercise that can be individualized depending on how much internal rotation your hips can access. Get in a split stance position like this. 90% of your weight is on your front leg, 10% is on the ball of the foot in the back. This back knee is directly underneath the back hip. It's not too far back or too far forward. Hold on to a rack slightly in front of your body. Again, not too far forward, not too far back. Just a slight bend in the elbow down by the side. Bend both knees about 15 to 20%. Just turn your zipper line, if you had one, a few degrees towards that stance leg side, not much at all. Maintain these 3 points of contacts at all times on this leg, keeping 90% of your weight there. Now, all you're gonna do is keep the same amount of knee bend and forward fold, staying really heavy over that front leg. You're gonna stop at the point at which you feel just a little stretch in the back of your glute on this front leg side. Even just a 3 out of 10 is perfectly fine. And then you're gonna push through the ground through those 3 points of contact to stand up, and you're gonna get to that end range of hip extension to the point where if you went any higher, your ribs would flare. I like to keep my hand on my ribs here to make sure I'm not doing this too much. And then you're gonna go back down, again, turning your zipper very slightly towards that side, feeling the stretch in the glute, just a 3 out of 10, pushing through my foot to stand up rather than trying to pull myself up. If you do this right, you're going to feel a ton of glute working on this stance leg side, even with just your body weight. The two biggest mistakes to avoid is locking out this knee and letting this heel drop as you go down, and also not maintaining a neutral spine and getting too much into extension or too much into flexion.